there are some talking heads out there that believe maybe you wait on signing Lindor until you see something from him, not signing him in during the spring training season and seeing what he does, getting some production out of him, seeing how he acclimates himself to a NL East as opposed to an AL Central. And there might be some merit to it. The reason we want to talk about it is because come 2022, you have some marquee shortstops that will be available. Javier Baez, Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, and Trevor Story. So to pull up the Brinks truck for Francisco Lindor before seeing something could be a little, premeditated, a little too early. But I want to know what you guys think. Greg, what are your feelings? How do you feel about Francisco Lindor? Do you want to pay him now?
I absolutely want to pay him now. I want to get the deal done now, and here's why. Francisco Lindor is easily a top 5 shortstop in all of baseball, and
top 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, he could even be argued that he's top 3. And one of the things the Mets have lacked over the years, and even going back to their World Series appearance in 2015, is defense. And Francisco Lindor brings an aspect that the Mets have not seen in a long time that is so needed. He's a great clubhouse guy. But furthermore, what paying him now does is shows other guys that will want to come here like, hey, we take care of our guys. All right. If you want to be here, we want you here. And I think that's also understated in sports where other players around the league look at how organizations treat star players as opposed to see where they're going to come. And I think out of that class you just mentioned, he's the best two-way player out of all of them. Like Trevor Story may have the better offensive numbers, but I don't view Trevor Story defensively the same way I view Francisco Lindor.
Like you guys might jump down my throat for this, but I really do, and I sincerely believe it. I have Lindor as the best shortstop in baseball right now. I really do, and I think the defense has a lot to play with it.
Oh, yeah,
I think like Trevor Story is I probably have him at 2-3. Trevor Story is a hell of a guy, player. That means, but at Coors Field is another thing. And
yes,
Speedy just said in the comments, Coors Field is another thing, and I don't think his defense compares to Lindor, even though he is a really good defender. He throws the ball 100 miles per hour across the infield. Seager's coming up with a World Series performance that was excellent. Playoff performance that was great. He really came back from, he had Tommy John a few years ago. He's really solidified himself to better than he was before the injury. So he's up there. Correa, I think, has kind of dropped a little bit.
Yes,
but I do think he's still a top 5 shortstop, but he's dropping. And I honestly, the stock on him, I really feel like is kind of lowering.
I agree with Correa. Also, one thing that we don't talk about enough with Francisco Lindor, he can steal you 20 to 30 bases a year, and that's a lost art in baseball.
Sneaky 2020.
Yeah,
or 30-20, like
40-20, 40-20. Honestly, we've seen him do it before.
He's maxed out at 34 home runs,
34, 38.
And
then this is somewhere in the 30s.
I'm pretty sure it's 38 and then 25 stolen bases or something. I'm not sure.
But here's the thing. Francisco Lindor has never had the protection in a Cleveland lineup outside of Jose Ramirez that he's going to have in this Mets lineup. So I expect big things from him. You pay him now, and I think you settle all the media frenzy of, Francisco Lindor is going into a slump, because every baseball player goes into a slump at some point of their season. Do you think he deserves the money? And then it takes away from what the team is doing as a whole, because the team could be winning, but Francisco Lindor is in a slump, and that'll be the focus. We don't need that.
Yeah, I love him being 2 behind Conforto. Sorry to jump you.
No, it's perfectly fine. I agree with that as well. I mean, Francisco Lindor has lit up in spring training 2 games ago. It was just it was a really productive inning that they had. They put up about 3 runs, I think, or 4 runs, but Francisco Lindor is a huge part of that. He had 38 home runs in 2018.
And 25 stolen bases, so I was right on it.
Yeah,
so 30-20. He could be a 40-30 guy. Even.
I agree with that. I think the approach should be, especially when now you have Cohen as your owner and he wants to spend, it shouldn't be a question how much you want to spend. But if they are looking at this as trying to be a little economical with the money, there is the approach that you would have to look at it, because I agree with you guys, but objectively, if we're looking at this situation, you could still get a very productive shortstop at a lesser price point, and that money could be diverted elsewhere, to help your organization out. And I understand it from that aspect, but the intangibles are what's important to me with Francisco Lindor. He's the kind of guy, when you put him as the cornerstone of your organization, fans rally around him. The team rallies around him. He is what David Wright was for David Wright was for the Mets.
That's a great point.
Like, if you pay him now, he's someone that locks in, because I think he's just such a good guy. If he got paid now and he saw that the Mets wanted him and saw him and valued him, he would be all in for that team and for his players.